Imagine you're trying to pet a cat. Each time you inch closer, the cat darts away, maintaining a watchful distance. You try again, stepping cautiously towards it, but it flees once more. On your third attempt, the cat vanishes entirely. Yet hours later, when your mind is occupied elsewhere, the cat reappears, sauntering over and settling comfortably in your lap. It's a curious truth that the more we pursue something, the more it seems to elude us. Yet, when we step back and give it space, it often comes to us on its own. This paradox challenges the conventional wisdom that success is simply the result of effort. While it's undeniable that hard work is often necessary to achieve our goals, the law of reversed effort suggests a different narrative. Too much striving can actually push our goals further away. The key, then, is not just to work harder, but to work smarter. Knowing when to act and when to hold back requires not just effort, but also intelligence and discernment. In an earlier discussion, we delved into the law of reversed effort, also known as the backwards law, through the lens of seeking happiness. Best-selling author Mark Manson captured this beautifully. Wanting a positive experience is a negative experience. Accepting a negative experience is a positive experience. In essence, the pursuit of happiness can ironically breed discontent as it underscores our deficiencies. True contentment arises not from a relentless chase, but from acceptance of the current state. Today, we shift our focus to how this principle applies to performance, goal achievement, and the conquest of fears, exploring deeper how less can indeed be more. If you find this video interesting, please click the like button, subscribe to the channel to stay with us, and support us on the path of sharing valuable and useful knowledge. The concept of the law of reversed effort was eloquently articulated by the English writer and philosopher Aldous Huxley. He suggested that true proficiency arises from a delicate balance between relaxation and effort. Huxley famously remarked, "The harder we try with the conscious will to do something, the less we shall succeed." Proficiency and the results of proficiency come only to those who have mastered the paradoxical art of doing and not doing, or combining relaxation with activity, of letting go so that deeper, unknown forces may emerge. We cannot force understanding. The best we can do is cultivate a mindset that is open to receiving it. Consider the plight of an insomniac. The more desperately he tries to sleep, the more elusive sleep becomes. As the night stretches on, his frustration grows, fueling his efforts to force sleep upon himself. Eventually, reaching a point of resignation, he stops trying altogether. In that moment of surrender, sleep gently overtakes him. This scenario illustrates a fundamental paradox. Sleep, the epitome of relaxation, cannot be compelled through effort. Indeed, the act of trying to relax is inherently contradictory, creating tension instead of tranquility. Thus, the attempt to force sleep not only fails but backfires, as true relaxation requires a release of effort, not an increase. Attraction is another aspect of life that defies our efforts to control it. It arises spontaneously, without invitation or intent. Generally speaking, trying too hard to secure someone's affection often leads to the opposite effect. Clinginess can repel, while a sense of mystery may entice. The old adage, "Absence makes the heart grow fonder," captures this well. Sometimes stepping back makes us more appealing. Over-exertion in pursuit of affection not only fails, but can diminish our allure. This concept of counterproductive effort is also noted by Viktor Frankl, the renowned philosopher and psychiatrist. In his seminal work, Man's Search for Meaning, he discusses the phenomenon of anticipatory anxiety, where focusing too intently on desired outcomes, or fervently trying to avoid undesired ones, actually propels us toward the very scenarios we wish to avoid. For instance, a stutterer who obsesses over not stuttering may end up stuttering more due to the heightened anxiety. Similarly, when we strive too hard to enjoy ourselves, our intense focus on the outcome can spoil the enjoyment we're chasing. The irony is that in our eagerness to secure pleasure or avoid discomfort, we often undermine our own efforts by becoming overly fixated on the results. In intimate moments, the pressure to reach a climax can paradoxically inhibit the very outcome desired. The more intensely individuals concentrate on climaxing, the less likely they are to achieve it, turning the experience into something fraught and disappointing. This hyper-focus on specific outcomes effectively cripples performance. Viktor Frankl, the philosopher and psychiatrist, offers a compelling solution to this problem through his concept of paradoxical intention. This technique involves a mental shift. Instead of desperately trying to avoid a feared outcome, one intentionally seeks it. For example, instead of struggling not to stutter, a person might try to stutter on purpose. Similarly, in the context of sleep, rather than striving to fall asleep, one might try to stay awake. This shift in intention can reduce the anxiety associated with performance, thereby increasing the likelihood of a natural and unforced outcome. This approach not only eases the pressure, but can also lead to more genuine and spontaneous experiences. For those interested in a deeper understanding of this method, Frankl's technique is further explored in the video titled Viktor Frankl's Method to Overcome Fear. Mastering the art of driving can be a daunting task, especially for novices. The act of driving involves multitasking at an advanced level, managing the vehicle's controls while simultaneously monitoring the surrounding traffic conditions. For those learning on manual transmission, the challenge is compounded by the need to coordinate between using the clutch, gas, and brake pedals alongside shifting gears. Additionally, the essential skill of checking mirrors to maintain awareness of the road environment can overwhelm beginners. At first, the complexity of these tasks might seem insurmountable. However, with persistent practice, something remarkable occurs. Gradually, the actions that once demanded conscious effort begin to feel natural. Drivers find themselves performing these intricate maneuvers reflexively, without the need to consciously think through each step. This transition from deliberate, painstaking control to fluid, instinctive action illustrates how proficiency can eventually emerge from the throes of initial struggle. The conscious mind, while invaluable for its capacity to reason, analyze, and communicate, can also be a barrier to achieving the effortless state known as Wu Wei or the flow state, a concept revered in Taoist philosophy. In this state, actions unfold with a natural fluidity devoid of conscious effort, reminiscent of a dancer melding into the dance or a painter seamlessly blending with the canvas. The essence of the flow state is captured beautifully by retired basketball player Bill Russell in the video Taoism Vertical Bar, The Philosophy of Flow. He describes it as playing in slow motion, where one is so attuned that the progression of the game and the placement of the next shot are almost palpable. However, this state is delicate. Any attempt to augment it with conscious thought or control disrupts its harmony. The moment we become aware of being in this state and start to intellectualize it, we disrupt the flow. Thus, many of our most fluid actions seem to originate not from our conscious mind, but from a deeper, intuitive part of ourselves, unencumbered by our direct control or understanding. Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung offered a compelling metaphor for understanding the human psyche. He likened the conscious mind to the tip of an iceberg, visible above the surface, while the vast and profound unconscious lies submerged and out of sight. According to Jung, this larger unseen portion of our mind orchestrates numerous processes without our conscious awareness. Echoing this idea, Aldous Huxley made a distinction between the broader consciousness and the personal conscious. He argued for the necessity of relaxing the personal conscious, our everyday self that exerts effort, believes it understands its surroundings, and utilizes language. Huxley suggested that by easing this aspect of ourselves, we allow the wider self to emerge, an expansive realm of consciousness where the personal self is merely a small island. He eloquently noted the personal conscious self being a kind of small island in the midst of an enormous area of consciousness. What has to be relaxed is the personal self, the self that tries too hard, that thinks it knows what is what, that uses language. This has to be relaxed in order that the multiple powers at work within the deeper and wider self may come through and function as they should. Huxley thus highlighted the curious dynamic of the law of reversed effort. The more forcefully we try to control or achieve something, the more likely we are to fail. This insight points to a profound truth about the nature of effort and ease within the scope of human abilities and beyond. When queried about his method for writing and creating, the legendary author Charles Bukowski shared a philosophy that encapsulates the essence of effortless creativity. He said, you don't try. That's very important. Not to try, either for Cadillacs, creation, or immortality. You wait, and if nothing happens, you wait some more. He likened the creative process to observing a bug on a high wall. It's like a bug high on the wall. You wait for it to come to you. When it gets close enough, you reach out, slap out, and kill it. Or if you like its looks, you make a pet out of it. This metaphor beautifully illustrates Bukowski's approach to creativity as something that cannot be forced or rushed, but rather something that must be allowed to unfold naturally in its own time and way. The paradox of effort is that too much of it often leads to diminishing returns. The more intensely we pursue someone, the more likely they are to retreat. The harder we push a product, the fewer sales we might see. Yet complete inaction isn't the solution either. Thus, the challenge lies in finding a balanced approach, a middle path that integrates action with non-action, effort with ease. This balance is essential across various skills and practices. While deliberate practice, learning, and critical thinking are necessary to develop our abilities, there's also a crucial need for the absence of such effort to allow these cultivated skills to manifest naturally. It's about calming the mind and stepping back, or as some might say, getting out of our own way. Aldous Huxley illustrates this concept vividly with his reference to music and sports teaching. He notes how instructors often advise relaxation in the midst of activity. Take the piano teacher, for example. He always says, relax, relax. But how can you relax while your fingers are rushing over the keys? Yet they have to relax. The singing teacher and the golf pro say exactly the same thing. Similarly, in spiritual practices, the guidance to relax the mind is prevalent. The idea is not merely to relax in isolation, but to integrate relaxation within the dynamic of action. This nuanced dance between doing and not doing is where optimal performance and genuine progress reside. The flow state, often described as being in the zone, is marked by a profound sense of mental clarity and equanimity. This state is not exclusive to any one field. Athletes, musicians, Formula One drivers, and martial artists alike report experiencing it. In this state, individuals cease to ruminate, worry, or overanalyze. Instead, they simply move in harmony with their actions, seamlessly blending with the unfolding moments as though they are one with the activity itself. This paradoxical state suggests that achieving peak performance isn't about exerting more effort, but rather about embracing a tranquil non-effort. It requires us to let go, to stop forcing outcomes, and allow our actions to flow naturally from a place of calm. This is where the wisdom of Lao Tzu resonates deeply, challenging us with the question, can you remain tranquil until right action occurs by itself? Thank you for watching, and may you find your own path to this effortless state in whatever you pursue. If you find this video interesting, please click the like button, subscribe to the channel to stay with us, and support us on the path of sharing valuable and useful knowledge.